Hi friends, I am here today to talk about a reading reset. So as many of you know, and I've mentioned in my videos, I moved in May, the end of April I moved, and it's just been a bit chaotic over the last 3 months really. I spent much of March in April packing and moved at the end of April. I have a few reasons why I ended up in a reading slump, and let me tell you, one of them is All Fours by Miranda July. I did read this book at the end of, really I feel like it took me all of April, and I still owe you a review of this book. I'm getting there. I really am. I'm trying to catch up, and that's part of why I want to talk about doing a reading reset. And I think it's the perfect time because in June, a number of people on booktube are going to be doing Joy Reading June, which was something that Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf started last year, I think, or the year before. The year that she started Joy Reading June, unfortunately, she passed away in that month. And it's continued on in her honor. Every June, we do Joy Reading June. And it's basically mood reading. What brings you joy? And I think that's going to be a great way for me to get kind of back on the reading track. I love reading and I miss it. I have a lot of books, as you saw from my book haul, which I'll link below. I've bought books. I have a lot of books I'm interested in. I just haven't been able to completely focus on books. Like I said, I definitely owe that to reading All Fours. And like I said, I will do a review of this, a full in-depth review. Still putting my thoughts together. It's been over a month. Well, yeah, it's been over a month since I read this, and I'm still processing it. It's got a lot that I could talk about, and I've also watched some other reviews and some interviews with the author, because if I review this, I also want to provide you with resources that can give you other perspectives of this book, because a lot of people love this book. I didn't necessarily love it, but I think that there's a place for it in our literature library. This will be part 1 of my reading reset. Let you know kind of what I'm hoping to do for Joy Reading June. And then I'll come to you with a part 2, which will be some of my pile of possibilities for reading in June. First, let's talk about what my current reads are. I'm currently reading A Sign of Her Own by Sarah Marsh for the Spoonie Readathon. I'm doing this as a buddy read with my friend Andy, and we're probably a little over halfway through. This is telling the story of Ellen, who had gotten, I think, scarlet fever when she was about 4 years old and lost her hearing as a result. And it's kind of telling a story of her education and trying to find her place in the world as a deaf person back in like the 1850s, do I remember what time frame it was? But one of her teachers is Alexander Graham Bell, and he worked on a lot of stuff with the deaf community. This I would classify as historical fiction, and we're kind of seeing the relationship between Ellen and Alexander Graham Bell. There's a timeline when she's an adult, and then it's looking back on her time as a student with Bell, and there's something happened. Something happened. We haven't gotten to what happened yet. Anyway, Andy has been really patient with me, taken longer than we had anticipated, mainly because I just haven't been reading as much. So I hope to finish this week and give you a review in my next wrap up. I also have been reading Killer Potential by Hannah Deitch, I think. This was a NetGalley book for me. It was also a book I started while I was moving, got it from the library, and was liking it fine. So this is about an SAT tutor who shows up at the home of a wealthy family that she tutors the daughter, and the parents are dead. And through decisions she makes on the scene, she is accused of the crime and goes on the run. So we're on the run with her and another person. It is good. I like the writing. I like the story. I just haven't been drawn to reading it. So again, I have no idea why, but I would say halfway through, and I want to finish it. I'm recording this the last week of May, and I hope to get one or both of these done by the end of May, hopefully. We're also still dealing with the cone on the cat. You'll be watching this on Friday. If all goes to plan, he will be getting his stitches out on Friday as you're watching this. And hopefully, cross your fingers, we won't have to have the cone on the cat anymore. Cat owners, you know. I started on audio the last story of Mina Lee by Nancy Juyong Kim. I really liked it on audio. And then Livy said, here's all the books that you've had on hold for a long time. Listen to them all at once. If you use Libby, you know. So I am putting this on hold while I listen to, the first one I need to listen to is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I tried to listen to his other book, The Anthropocene Review, while I was moving, and I just wasn't interested in it enough. And when I was packing, I ended up listening to music mostly. I have found I wasn't listening to music, and now I've found my love of listening to music again. Anyway, point being, I hope to get to this in June. This will be one of them. In June, I'm also a little behind on my Read Good challenge, which is hosted by Ben Reads Good. May's prompt was Déjà Vu, which was a reread or read an author that you've read before and loved. And I had plans to do that, and I just, again, wasn't reading, so I didn't get that done. So I'm going to double up on the prompts for June. June's prompt is the pile of shame, basically. And my pile of shame is a couple of books, but the one I want to focus on is Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Again, a book I was enjoying and put down and never went back to for some reason. I was doing the read along with Nicole at Noteworthy Fiction. I really like this book. It's hard to read. Time and Place, the 50s, Deep South, and then into Harlem, and race relations and racism. but I do like Ralph Ellison's writing. I like the book. I need to get back to it. So this will be my Read Good challenge for Pile of Shame in June. And I'm not really sure what my reread or Déjà Vu prompt will be that I have to make up for May. The other part of my reading reset is to get back on my goals. I had goals for this year that really focused on reading backlist books and my book of the month. As you can see, I still haven't organized them, but here's a lot of my book of the month books. I have not read, so I have my journal, which again is another goal that I had, was to keep up with my reading journal, which I have not done in the last 2 months. But honestly, I haven't really been reading. So there's that too. So going back over my goals, read 100 books. I am still on pace to do this. I was a lot of books ahead. I think I had gotten up to like 7 or 8 books ahead of my goal. However, I've used up all of that. I'm now only like 1 book ahead, maybe. So I need to get back on that. My 12 and 25 is a backlist group of books that I identified at the beginning or end of last year that I wanted to read off my TBR, my physical TBR. Some of them were books I've had on my shelf for a very long time. Well, in moving, I had them on one bookshelf in my living room and they kind of got mixed together. So I actually need to go back and look at my list that I did make. Did I put it in here? I think I did. I made a list of the books that I need to go back to and read, because there's 12 books and I have read 1 of the books. So I need to step up on those. Another goal of mine is to read a book of the month book every month. Book of the month is a book subscription that I have been doing. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep doing it, just because I haven't really been interested in the books, and I might try a different book subscription. Stay tuned for that. So I had put kind of a book of the month page in my reading journal to read 1 every month. I have gotten through one. Well, I started reading The Book of Witching by C.J. Cook and DNF'd it. So it counts because it gets off my shelf. However, I have not read any other Book of the Month books this year. So I'm just really far behind on these. And I'm going to say, that's okay. These are goals. They're not must-dos. We'll figure it out. I will also link below the corresponding videos. I think they were mostly in vlog. I did them in Vlogmas with these lists. The next one is to read Intentional Living book stack. I have an Intentional Living book stack that I pulled together from backlist books, and I have read 1. I've tried to read a couple others I've started and I need to go back to. I just, again, wasn't reading them. I did do a couple extra books that would fit into Intentional Living, the idea, my goals for Intentional Living. But yeah, I had pulled out 7 books that I really wanted to get to. So I'd like to get to those. My other goal was to get my NetGalley to 40%. Who was I thinking would do that? Not me, because I don't like reading on an e-reader or my phone. And that's how I get my NetGalley books. So who thought I was going to reach that? So I'm basically waiting till they come out and getting them from the library. Again, current one, Killer Potential, is on my list on NetGalley, but I have done one. I listened to Chloe by Connie Briscoe, and I just need to write the review on NetGalley. I don't think I've done that yet. So yeah, the other goal is to read 75% of my owned books, which I need to look back at. I think I'm probably on pace to do that. And then the last goal was to have fun, which right now I'm not having that much fun with my reading life because I'm not reading and I want to be. So I am going to pick some books to read specific for my goals to read in June. It's going to be kind of a pile of possibilities for June. Let's hope. And try and make some improvement on my goals. So make sure you're subscribed and click the notification button, because today I'm going to post this on Friday. Sunday I will come to you with part 2 of my reading reset, which will also feature which will be my pile of possibilities for June. Again, Joy Reading June. We're going to read what we enjoy, what brings us joy in June. No pressure, really, no pressure. But I do want to read more. I want to get back into that because I feel like I'm just wasting time scrolling on my phone or watching silly TV that I really don't, I don't know. I know sometimes you need those times, but for me now, it's getting a little boring and yeah, just completely repetitive, and I need some mental stimulation. Yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm at. If you have any suggestions on books that you've read recently that have been knocked out of the park, 5 stars, let me know in the comments, because I'm really feeling like I need a really good book. Maybe a fast-paced book would help. So maybe I'll look at some thrillers. I also hope to get back into, and I've mentioned this before, my backlist reading vlogs, because that helps me get through my backlist of books, which is very many. I have a very big backlist. So yeah, thanks for being here. I hope y'all are doing well, and I will see you soon. Bye.